tech issues taken care of as the lovely look at him wearing it. Look at him wearing his athletic hoodie. It's a nice hoodie, Sam. Good morning. How are you?
Straight out of bed. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Where are you?
I'm at a hotel in LA.
Oh,
was your was your tech difficulty getting like the pillow wrinkles out of your face or something, like waking up?
No, it was real. I kept putting the link into Google Chrome and it wouldn't work. I was not lying to you.
Gotcha.
We here.
Well,
we got a little cold that's got the voice sounding funky. But how you guys doing?
Good. And honestly, I mean, it's a good time for you to catch up on your sleep because it's going to be a crazy next few weeks. We'll start with the Sacramento Kings, though. Big win last night. I know you're in LA. I'm sure you took a look at the Kings Warriors last night. Nice heavyweight bout between two rivals, and I think it's everything national TV should have wanted.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I mean, it was an exciting game and did go down to the wire. And what was the biggest Kings deficit?
18.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't – I've officially reached with this new Doug Christie Kings team. Like, the sample size is big enough. I don't know who they are ultimately, but, I'm done taking credit away from them in terms of opponent or who was playing and who wasn't playing. Is it 10-2 now with Doug?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, that's a heck of a turnaround. And then you see, like, when you talk about things like spirit and mood and all the stuff that was discussed around the coaching change, like, it's hard to not look at it and say, all right, a month ago, if they're down 18, are they fighting back in that one? So, another good win.
Yeah, and as they go forward, Sam, obviously this is an impossible, question to know, but just your thought on them, like you kind of said it, not sure where they'll be. Do you see this as a team that is a playoff team, a play-in team, or someone that misses the whole thing in overall?
I am going to cheat, Mr. Ross, and look at the standings.
Yeah,
I mean, I like your question.
They're in 7th now, and they moved up from 12th. But yeah,
I mean, if you told me that they finished, the absolute top, where I just wouldn't believe you, would be top 4.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a world that exists where I could see them, riding this train, past the Lakers, Clippers, Timberwolves, Mavs. And right now, the Spurs have fallen off a bit, dropped quite a few games. There's just it's parity, right? So, like, that's where the league is at right now. They're not a contender. They are a potential playoff team, and if they push it hard enough, then they could get into that next tier. So we'll see.
At least move up in the power rankings, right?
Where are they at now?
Oh, did they move up?
I think they did. I can't remember where the Athletic had them, but they moved up.
Hey, I'm in LA. My guy Law Murray, who does those, he's here. I could talk to the author.
Let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
Just tell him we're not mad. I respect his work. We're just disappointed. Not mad.
Like he's your child.
Yes, exactly.
So there's this balance here, Sam, kind of what we're building towards, that you don't want to mess with success, but also not sustainable. You got a trade deadline coming up. What's your lowdown? What's the scoop? What's the skinny? More specifically, who specifically are they trading for?
And why?
They are in deep talks to secure the services of Giannis Antetokounmpo.
That's what we thought.
Heard it here first.
Yeah.
Heard it here. And they say Sam doesn't break news.
Confirmed.
Please.
But Giannis said that. Wow, they say that, huh?
No, okay. Full disclosure. Before you came on, I said this. Bovada actually released odds on who's going to break the Jimmy Butler trade. They released it yesterday, and I looked, and it was like Shams was favored, and they had, Mark Stein down there, Jake, all this stuff, and your name wasn't on there. And it was before you came on. I actually gave you a compliment. I said, it's not that Sam doesn't break news. Well, whether it's the Dwight Howard thing, which was huge back in the day, to this trade, to that trade, you have, I think, made a very conscious decision, as I completely derailed the interview. You've made a very conscious decision. We've talked about this before, that you'll break news. You're in the know. You talk to these people, but that's a stressful life that you just don't really want to be a part of. You're one of the few that actually gets into the nuts and bolts, the X's and O's, the real talk between each side. And you don't ever have to worry really about burning bridges because you're, a consummate pro, but also that's where your interests are, as opposed to chasing that breaking trade all the time.
No, it's fine. I didn't know about the Bovada thing, but thank you for the long explanation.
That was a nice compliment I gave you.
Yeah, that was. What the hell was the question?
What are the Kings going to do?
Who are they trading for, Sam?
Yeah.
Oh, well, the other punchline was going to be that Giannis won't come without Jokic. So, congrats.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've got Trey Lyles and some picks.
Don't give him that second rounder, though.
Who says no?
I mean, it's the same cast of characters. I think they're in. I mean, I think they're in on anybody who can help them. I know that sounds cliche. The Cam Johnson report that came out the other day about how they hadn't talked in a couple of weeks was not really surprising to me, because it feels like they've left that conversation, kind of sitting there, where it's like, well, what we have, and if something changes and you decide that that's the best offer you have, then they'll talk again. But I don't know. I don't know where they're going. I've wondered about Kuzma. I've wondered about Valanciunas. If we can go all the way down the line, but I do think they're still active. But to your point about if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't know. I mean, they got to see the bigger picture at the same time.
I don't know if you have any sense of this, Sam, but on the Kings side of things, do you know where they're drawing the line in the sand on their offers by chance? Like, I mean, what might be untouchable on their end, even though we know nobody is untouchable? What are they holding back that they likely wouldn't want to move?
It's the same stuff. I mean, I had heard some stuff about, about bigger pursuits where they dipped their toe in, and, Keegan Murray came up and Keegan was still a no. So, I mean, that comes to mind. They're not looking to move Fox, even with all the different kind of drama that happened with De'Aaron. I don't see that happening before the deadline. I think he'll be here through the season at least. So it's the same stuff. They're trying to. That's the thing. I mean, they're it's kind of Herter, Lyles, and and the picks. So we'll see where that gets them.
What do you make of the? Not that it affects the Kings, or maybe it does if they're a third-party facilitator, but it seems, if you believe them, those folks, that Jimmy Butler to the Phoenix Suns is inevitable. Do you agree that, at least if nothing else, they are by far the odds-on favorite? Are you hearing something else?
It's one of the weirder stories that I've covered from the standpoint of the information on both sides being so hard to reconcile. Meaning, Jimmy's camp has been pretty bullish on, especially the other day when the Suns did that trade with Utah to triple their picks, obviously lower quality picks, that was perceived by Jimmy's side as major progress toward him getting where he wants to go. And there was, we wrote about the optimism they had. Jimmy wears the Suns colored shoes, and is trolling a little bit. And then misses the flight, which is, a little bit like I think he's obviously beyond 1 foot out of town at this point. But then in terms of the machinations to get it done, you've got two things. Like, all right, Bradley Beal is supposed to be part of it, right? Well, his agent, Mark Bartelstein, continues to publicly and privately to swear that there's nothing happening with Brad and his no trade clause, that he has not given anybody a list, even though there's indications elsewhere that is the case. So that's a major, piece of the puzzle that is not kind of solved. Then you have the fact that, I think the other day the chatter started to get a lot louder that it would potentially be a 3, 4, 5 team deal. And that sounds all well and good, but those are pretty tough to get over the finish line. So I don't know, honestly, where it's going to go. I think he's going to eventually wind up in Phoenix. but Milwaukee is up to something right now. I don't know what it is. So I think Milwaukee is worth watching. But then, Chicago are there scenarios where Zach LaVine goes to the Bucks? That's some of the discussion that has been had. But yeah, it's a weird one. And then it's exacerbated by the human part of Jimmy being so sideways with the Heat right now.
Yeah, I know when we talked last week, Sam, I think you said those around Jimmy, you said this is just not him. Like something's off. And, that I guess that does happen. Is there a scenario though, Sam, where we get to 2 weeks from today and it feels like Miami almost has to do it, but what if they can't execute that? What happens then with those two parties?
If they didn't get a deal done, I think they would find a way to convince the NBA that, like, because you can't typically just send somebody home, but like that gray area between suspension and exile. But I think honestly, part of what has happened is they're building their case to justify that down the road potentially. When you have, I forget who said that. Tim Hardaway Sr. had said on a radio interview that the Heat sent a 10-page document to the Players Union chronicling all the stuff that Jimmy had done that qualified as kind of insubordinate or whatever. Now you have the missing of the flight. So if they don't get a deal done, I think they'd probably send him home for the rest of the year and then have to not only wait until the summertime, but wait and see what he was going to do with that player option that he has, which is, still a big factor here too.
And if they do send him home, Sam, how do you think the fight goes between Mickey and Pat and the Players Union ultimately? I don't want to say this is unprecedented, but Jimmy's doing a real good job at getting right up to the line of violation or breach of contract. Do you see a fight going on between Mickey Arison and Pat Riley in the union where they say, yeah, we're not paying him, dude. He's in breach of contract?
I don't know the answer to that. I think, I think they'd have to bite the bullet and just pay him for the rest of the year. I think, the notion of they already went up against that line, like you said, when they took 7 games pay out of his pocket. He would have to continue acting up to justify not paying him. So, and also I don't know that on the union side, I don't want to speak for them, but I think, there's some regret for, or I guess frustration with how he's handled certain stuff. So it's messy, man. It's messy. I honestly, we have these sagas that drag on and I don't have a dog in the fight, but like, there is part of me that says, all right, I'm ready for the next story. Let's get a trade done here.
Yeah. Talking with Sam Amick here. Sam, Kings and Warriors last night. One thing I was thinking about the Warriors, I know Steph and Draymond have both publicly come out and kind of said, yeah, let's not, we can still be kind of back in the thick of things in a championship type of team, maybe as soon as next year. Let's not mortgage, anything for something this year. And I don't know, watching them last night, they do have some assets. And if they have a bad week and a half or so here, could they be in a spot with that high salary right now as they're sellers in the next 2 weeks as opposed to a team looking to add?
The Warriors, Jay?
Yeah.
I don't see it. They're already, I was going to say asking for trouble. That's a little too strong, but like they should already feel lucky that Steph is standing by them to the degree that he is. Selling when health is a major reason. This team should be able to be top 7, top 8 in the West if they're healthy. But, it's funny. I saw a clip this morning from Deuce and Mo where Deuce was trolling and talking about all the fact that Steph played and the Kings beat the Warriors with Steph, but it was like kind of casually mentioned, no Kuminga, no Podziemski, no Kyle Anderson. These are actual players who helped the Warriors win basketball games. So I don't see them being sellers. I've more been focused on, would they take another big swing like they did in the summer? but I don't think they're going to do that because, the hard part about where they're at is you get to see it's kind of laid bare how far you are from actual contention, in which case the notion of sending Kuminga to some other team, let's say Philly was willing to do Paul George because it's not going well out there. That's the type of thing that I think they would come to regret. So they're a little bit in purgatory here.
And back to Phoenix too. We talk about it quite a bit. The new owner syndrome. I love the move Matt Ishbia made with lowering the food prices, of course, because I'm a fatty, but also at the same time,
you're not a fatty. By the way. You look good. You lost all that weight.
I appreciate that. At the same time, though, you saw them consolidate, or you saw Utah really consolidate their picks. It looked like the Suns were making a Stepien rule move with expanding their picks available, but. You mentioned Paul George in Philly. That's not working out. Bradley Beal in Phoenix. That's not working out. Jimmy Butler. That is certainly not working out. And then in contrast, you have Steph Curry, who we talked about earlier. A lot of respect in the sense that he's not asking out. He's not saying, hey, I want one more run. I want to get a title with somebody else. He seems to be very committed to the Warriors, very committed to the future. And when you look at Phoenix, it looks like they've gotten themselves in a bit of trouble. Not that Beal and Butler are the same player, but isn't there a little bit of we're gonna throw out one vet who's highly paid and maybe past his prime for another vet who's highly paid and past his prime? And oh, by the way, Bradley Beal is not. You don't really hear that many issues about Bradley Beal and his perceived whatever like Jimmy Butler. So it seems kind of messy down there.
No, for sure. It is big time. I'm going to steal a line. John Hollinger wrote a really good column talking about why what the Suns are doing is ill-advised. And, John, having worked in a front office, always has that unique perspective. The kicker, as we call it, the last line of the column, I just pulled it up, I thought was pretty on point. He said, basically, the fields have been salted through 2031. All that's left to do now is starve.
That's a great line, dude.
No wonder everybody wants to trade for Phoenix's picks.
Yeah. Right. That's the hole they've dug themselves.
That's where the Sharks are circling because everybody expects Phoenix to fall off the face of the earth in a couple of years, competitively, and it is, as fans, I think people like aggressive front offices. People like big swings. Ishbia is certainly challenging that kind of philosophy and that ethos. It's just not. It's not wise. He continues to do it. He's very involved in this Jimmy Butler thing as far as being a driving force behind it. And is just refusing to kind of cut his losses and swing this thing back the other way. I think people around the league would argue, like, forget about trading Bradley Beal, man. Like, you could get a lot for Devin Booker. You can get a lot for Kevin Durant, just start busting it up and rebuilding. But that's not what they're doing.
As you say that, I'm sure, well, I shouldn't say I'm sure, but I want to go to the team at the top. OKC doesn't have a lot of flaws. Maybe the argument would be, hey, don't touch a thing. We're set. We've got a good thing. Everybody's got to catch us. But they've got more assets than just about anybody. Could they do something here in the next 2 weeks that kind of really surprises the league? Because, if they secured someone big time with all those future picks, I think they could really make a splash. What do you think about the Thunder and what they might potentially do?
I just don't see it right now, Jay. I think, you talk about not messing with a good thing. Who's that guy? Literally, and we joke about Giannis, like, unless you're talking about somebody like that.
Bring back Durant. Honestly, yeah. I'm just throwing this out. Like, as we were just talking about Phoenix, that's probably what they need to recoup is future draft picks, but whether or not they want to jump there, but that they could do that.
They could, but SGA is very possibly going to be the MVP of the league. Jalen Williams, I don't know if he'll make it, but he's worthy of an all-star berth. They just destroyed a team in Cleveland that, had the best record of the league. Kevin Durant, as great as he is, we have a lot of evidence in Phoenix. Like, they started the year, the Suns did. I think they were 1-9 when Kevin didn't play, and and had a great record when he did play. And then it's evened out since then. They're about 500 past couple of weeks with Kevin on the floor. Like, as great as Kevin is, this is not Team USA. You put Kevin into the OKC landscape, and not to mention all the mixed emotions of the fans and the story that would come with it and the vibe. I mean, honestly, not to sound like, 16-year-old, but like the vibes like would be an issue, I think. And not in a negative way, but like that, what they have right now in OKC, like I'm not messing with.
So to your point, Sam, sorry, to your point, and I agree with you. They're the best team in basketball right now. Why screw with it? But Sam Presti
with no Chet Holmgren, by the way, and no Isaiah Hartenstein.
Right. So if you're Sam Presti, this dude's been playing 3D chess forever. So I would imagine what he would be interested in, to your point, is like, look, not that we don't need first round picks, but we really don't need them right now. And as we know, OKC is a very specific small market. He constantly has to work in cycles. So aren't we in a situation where if we think like Sam, both of them, that where they would perhaps be very big power players is by moving some of these picks in 25, 26 and just getting a boatload of future picks that current GMs worried about their jobs don't care about. And meanwhile, Sam is not just keeping the war chest stocked, he's actually setting up for the next run OKC has to go on.
Yes. To me, that would make a lot more sense than going for a big fish right now. Because the picks, it's funny. The Thunder, the way they'll tell you is, I might have dropped this line on the show before, but like, as far as the picks, it's that idea that like nobody ever said, I have too many $100 bills.
Right.
But that's not totally true. It's not a great analogy. Like there does come a point when you got to do something with all these picks. You got to pick actual players. You got to figure out, how you're going to pay them. So like pushing them out to set up that next run would be wise. And yeah, like we just saw with Utah and Phoenix, and I'm just agreeing with you. I think that type of thing would make some sense for them.
All right, we're out of time. I'll leave you with this, Sam. I was reading about this earlier. Sam, have you ever figured out, do you know, and you could use this with your kids too, do you know why cows moo?
I do not, my friend. What do you got for me?
It's because their horns don't work.
That's how we're ending the show. There it is.
Sam Amick of The Athletic joins us each and every week, 8 a.m. on Thursdays. He's out there pounding the pavement, making it happen, getting all the info that you want, and bringing it to us, a very, very professional radio program. Sam, have fun in L.A. where you're around the 5 and all those other ones that we don't say up here.
Moo. Yes.
And we'll talk to you soon, Sam.
All right, gentlemen. Be good.
Take a break. Because their horns don't work.
Yeah.
So they have to moo.
Right.
Went to an aquarium the other day. Didn't stick around. You know why?
Why?
Seemed a little fishy. 4 down territory.
Did I ever tell you the Buccaneer joke?
I just killed the energy in this room, didn't I? Just
energy?
Killed the energy in this room.
It's back.
Because our horns don't work.
We got it.
Oh.